Canada. For so many people, the name itself conjures up these images of wide open spaces and super friendly people. But what's the real story behind the maple leaf? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the promise and the reality of what it's like to live in the Great White North. Let's dive in.
So get this. This year alone, more than 450,000 newcomers are arriving in Canada. That is a massive number, bigger than the entire population of a lot of cities. So you gotta ask, what is the big draw? Why are so many people packing up their lives for Canada?
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is the promise of Canada? What's the secret sauce that makes it one of the most desirable places to live in the world? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
When you really boil it down, the Canadian promise is built on three main pillars: stability, safety, and a quality of life that's frankly pretty hard to beat. And look, this isn't just some marketing slogan. It's a reality that's made possible by a really strong social safety net.
Now, this idea of a social floor is super interesting. Think of it like a literal foundation for everyone. It's a system that's designed to provide a baseline of support, to catch you if you stumble, and to prevent people from falling into really desperate situations. It's a core part of the Canadian identity.
So what exactly makes up this social floor? Well, it's a whole bunch of different programs that are designed to support people from, childhood all the way through retirement. Let's start by looking at how Canada supports families. First on the list is something called the Canada Child Benefit, or the CCB, and this is a big one. It's a tax-free payment that goes directly to eligible families every single month. The whole point is just to help with the enormous costs of raising kids and make life a little more affordable for parents.
And we are not talking about a small amount of money here. A family could get almost $8,000 a year per child, completely tax-free. That is an absolute game changer. But here's the thing, and this is so important for newcomers. You have to file your taxes every single year to get this money, even if you didn't earn any income.
Okay, next up is employment insurance, or EI. So what is it? Well, basically, if you lose your job and it wasn't your fault, this program kicks in. It gives you a temporary income while you're looking for another job. It's really the heart of Canada's employment safety net.
EI can provide up to $729 a week, but its impact is so much bigger than that. This is the system that powers Canada's really generous maternity and parental leave policies. It gives new parents the incredible gift of time with their babies, which, as you know, is a total luxury in many parts of the world.
And that social floor, it doesn't just disappear when you get older. It stretches all the way into retirement. The Old Age Security Pension is a monthly payment that creates a baseline income for almost every senior over 65, which helps ensure they have some financial stability later in life.
But you know what really makes Canada's retirement system special? Inflation protection. This is huge. As you can see, both the OAS and the Canada Pension Plan are indexed to the cost of living. That means your pension keeps its value no matter what crazy things the economy is doing.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to that second pillar, safety. Canada is consistently, year after year, ranked as one of the safest countries on Earth. A big part of that is due to its strict gun control laws, which just creates a different feeling of public safety. And in cities like Ottawa, Barrie, and Quebec City, the crime rates are just exceptionally low.
And finally, you can't talk about quality of life without mentioning the environment. Access to nature is just baked into the Canadian identity, from these enormous national parks to just, local green spaces in your city. That, plus some of the cleanest air in the world, is a massive part of the appeal. Okay, so a strong social safety net, safe cities, clean air, it all sounds amazing. Which, of course, leads to the big question. What's the trade-off? Because there's always a trade-off, right?
And that brings us to the reality check. How on earth does Canada pay for all of this? Well, the simple answer is that all these benefits we've been talking about are funded directly by the people who live and work there.
This slide just lays it all out perfectly. On one side of the scale, you have all the benefits: universal health care, EI, the child benefit, public safety, retirement security. And on the other side, you have the cost: high income taxes and a high cost of living. This is the fundamental Canadian bargain.
So, how does Canada pay for all this? Well, taxes. And they are not small. Depending on how much you make and which province you live in, your total income tax bill, that's federal and provincial combined, could be anywhere from 20% to well over 50%.
And it's not just the taxes. The cost of living, particularly housing, can be a major shock. Just look at this chart. The difference is wild.
You could literally rent 2 apartments in Quebec City for the price of 1 in Vancouver. Where you choose to live, your postal code, can absolutely make or break your budget.
So, knowing all this, the promise and the price, how can someone new to the country prepare to not just get by, but to really thrive? Well, it all comes down to being prepared and knowing how the system works. Let's look at a quick blueprint for success.
It really boils down to these 3 steps. Before you even arrive, do your homework. And when we say budget for winter, we don't just mean a coat. We mean boots, thermal layers, gloves. It's a big one-time expense. Then, in your first week, make it your mission to get your social insurance number and health card. And for the long run, please use the free, government-funded settlement services. They have everything from language classes to help with your resume, and they are an amazing, underused resource.
So at the end of the day, that's what living in Canada is really about. It's about understanding that trade-off. The country provides this incredibly strong foundation, that social floor of safety, stability, and support. So the final question, for all 450,000 people showing up this year and for anyone else thinking about it, is this: what will you choose to build on it?